Jim. Hi. Thank you for making time for today's session. How are you doing?
Shivani, it is really such a pleasure to be here and that you invited me. So I was looking very much forward to it. So let's go.
Perfect, perfect. So, to the listeners who are listening to this recording, I and Jim are going to talk about learning from your failures, POV Customer Success today, where Jim will help us understand from his experience how do we come out of failures, which are, they will be part of the journey. So, I'm Shivani. I work as a CSM for SmartKarrot, and Jim, you are an industry veteran. You have been in the industry for so long. So if you would like to introduce us, that would be amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Shivani. Indeed, I'm a very long time already in the industry. I have been working in different roles, starting as an engineer and solution architect and a global technical service manager. And when I started to work for an oil company, I found the pleasure so much in working with international teams across different continents. And that gave me so much pleasure. And it is especially in how you build this team and how you get out of it what the customer actually need. Instead of working with silo teams where you need to make tickets and things like that, you want to make a fluent flow to
Right.
serve the customer as soon as possible. So I have done all these roles and I started to work actually with customer success around 2017 while I actually was doing it already in 1990s without knowing that it was called customer success. Uh,
Okay.
so, so it was a natural thing for me to move over to customer success. And um, right now I am decided to work for myself because I think I can help many customers to achieve their goals with the services what I can offer, and that's been fun. The industries where I've been working with is IT, public cloud, private cloud, transport, logistics, oil and gas, and healthcare, and
Mhm.
a number of other industries. Yeah.
Wow. This is going to be an exciting one. So, given the range of experience that you have and our previous connects, I think we chose the topic very rightly. So, learning from the failures. So, I'll just jump to the questions now, Jim.
Yeah,
So,
good. Yeah.
you you have been a leader in the CS for so long. So, has there been an instance where you were roped in at the failing moments and you managed to turn it around? And when this,
Oh,
what were your learnings?
I had that several times. So, to be honest, I love chaos. I love situations like that
Yeah,
because I know I can turn it around.
yeah.
And actually, it all starts with actively listening.
Mhm.
What exactly is going on?
Right.
What is the contract? Do we deliver what is in the contract? Does everybody understand the contract?
Yeah.
And are we delivering what have we been agreeing on with the customer? So the things start with a discovery process,
Mhm.
listening
Yes.
with the internal key stakeholders and the external key stakeholders. Collect the data, make an action plan, but also start to work with a cross-functional team in a customer room.
Right.
And that means it can be a virtual room, it can be a physical room, it doesn't matter. But all internal key stakeholders have to be there
Mhm.
because we all need to agree on the way of how we make our action points. Is
Right.
this the way going forward? Are we aligned? Um, and that is really key. And when you have created these action points, you need to discuss that with your external key stakeholders. We are not talking about one because many companies are only focusing on the operational side, but we
Mhm.
have strategic. We have many other key stakeholders actually what we need to talk about
Right.
and need to talk to. And what is their desired outcome and experience, and what is their definition of success?
Mhm.
So when you start to focus on that and you build a relationship with all these key stakeholders,
Yeah.
that is really key to start to do things better. Because what is important for them? What are their highest priorities? What we need to work on? So when these action points are created and you are aligned with the external key stakeholders, what their priorities are,
Mhm.
can turn around it already very easily.
Yeah.
Of course, you start to show the little things what you have improved. And when they start to see that, they start to feel more confident.
Mm.
And within a period of 3, 4 months, you start to get trust.
Right.
Well, what happens when you start to get trust? The door
Mm.
will get open to start to talk more strategic instead of operational.
I agree.
And that is the pleasure. And what you achieve also is not only the trust by the external key stakeholders, but also the pleasure what you have with your employees by working together and achieve the outcome what the customer is looking for.
I
That
agree.
is magic.
Yes, yes, I agree on so many things, especially the point where you mentioned that sometimes CS teams become very tunneled and they focus on just one key stakeholder, and then the others, the important ones, probably the strategic ones, are left out of your action plan, and that probably hampers a lot more.
Yeah, and the problem is, Shivani, when you do not deliver the desired outcome and experience, you will not have strategic meetings
Yeah.
because you do not deliver the foundation what the customer is asking from you.
Mhm.
So, and just to achieve that and to see that the door is going open, that you get a seat at the table to talk strategic, that is the final goal. That is where we have to be all together. And not really the final goal. The final goal is to be to have the customer as an advocate, of course, that they are selling your product for you. But
Mhm.
that will be in next step then.
I agree. So, continuing with our discussion, Jim, the second question that I have is that we all make plans and everything, but sometimes, despite our best efforts of the CSM and the leader, the customer relationship cannot be either it cannot be salvaged or the desired outcome is not being realized. So, how do you navigate the difficult decision making, which you know that you are going to make in the future?
It's an important thing because there's, in my point of view, there should be no surprises.
Mhm.
So when you onboard ideal customers.
Right.
So they fit with your product, with your services, and that avoids already a lot of problems.
Mhm.
So I always think about CS is CO and CX. So customer success is customer outcome and customer experience. And next to that, when you achieve that, you also have employee experience
Right.
in a very positive way. So, but starting actually with the ideal customer profile, it's very important to identify what is a good fit, what is a fit, and what is a perfect fit. Then
Right.
everything outside is a non-fit.
Mhm.
That is how I see it, because then you can get really the best out of your product and the services what you give to your customers and what they are looking for. So it is building journey maps and customer success plans is really, really important. So there should be no surprises. When you build a customer journey map, you know exactly when is what going to take place. What
Mhm.
kind of resources do I need? With what kind of competence? In what kind of timeline?
Right.
Right? So when you go to the customer success plan, that is something different. So you look at the customer, what is their goal? What are the objectives? How do we play a role to achieve those objectives?
Mhm.
Do they have milestones and dates? Why are these dates so important?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then you also need to ask the right open questions. How do you measure success? What do we need to do to be successful?
Right. Right. I
Yeah,
agree.
and that are questions that are many times forgotten. A lot of times, companies are focusing on the product and the services,
Mhm.
but how does the customer look at that? For them, it is important not about your product or your services, but how you can help them achieving their goals and the challenges what they have, and
Yeah,
how you use your product and services. It's up to you,
I agree.
but the experience have to be right.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can have the outcome with an top-notch product. But when you have lousy experience because you do not have your team ready to support your customer,
Mhm.
it can make customers leave your organization.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you write the contract, you have the journey mapping, you have the customer success plan, you have all your key stakeholders aligned
Mhm.
and also mapped. You need to understand what the role is. Are they supporting? Do they make decisions or things like that? You need to understand each of their definition of success. what
Mhm.
they expect from you to be delivered, the outcome and the experience.
Yeah.
Once that is clear, that kind of information need to be discussed with your internal key stakeholders. So
Mhm.
everybody should be aware of what is in the contract, what is in the customer's success plan, and what is the journey mapping,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that there are no surprises when what need to take place.
Yeah, I think the guiding principle of not having any surprises is good to have.
You need to be prepared because I do not like surprises, and of course they will happen. But
Mm.
when you have very regular operational meetings,
Yeah.
very regular. You have maybe every quarter a partnership value review. They
Mhm.
call it
Mhm.
quarterly business review,
Yes.
but I
Yes.
think that's more on the distance. You are a partner, so you want to review your partnership.
Yeah.
And when you get that all kind of information and you review actually, let's say the success plan what you have made 3 months ago, you need to review it if everything is still in place. Are there different things happening in your organization that we have to adjust to success plan, yes or no? Does it have an effect on the journey mapping? Are some projects postponed, yes or no?
Yeah. I agree.
So, mm,
Okay. So should we move to the next question now? Or yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that it's good to have an ICP and then a customer journey plan where you have dates and milestones and everything. But as the customer moves that along the journey plan, sometimes their needs and KPIs evolve. It could be due to external factors or it could be even internal, leadership changed or the team changed, product made a pivot. So
Yeah.
this makes our existing success plan or the existing success playbook ineffective. So, under these circumstances, what steps should a leader take to innovate and adapt?
I love this question, I'm born actually in IT, public cloud, private cloud, managed services. We do not work with playbooks.
Mhm.
It is a very complex environment, and it is huge to do your job as a CSM.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what I see about KPIs, you have the internal ones, you have the external ones. You cannot control the external ones. So
Yep.
things can change and will change. So you need to adopt very flexible in adjusting your plan. But the internal KPIs, that is something that I think quite some custom companies have to work on,
Mhm.
because a lot of companies are actually working with quite siloed KPIs.
Yeah.
They are not aligned. And that can cause problems because when you work with different, let's say 10 different business units, for example, within an organization, and there's no alignment, and they say, hey, it's not my thing. I have done my job. It's yours. It's on your plate now, and that make it difficult. So we need alignment also with all key stakeholders, how we work together with our customer.
Yeah.
So when I've been talking actually to different customer success leaders and managers, there's a lot of struggling actually. And struggling is that due to the silo KPIs, that there's a lack of coordination, inefficient resource allocation, and misaligned goals. And there's also a lack of a holistic view within the organization.
Yeah.
And that affects also an employee disengagement.
Yes.
Um, of course, I am not on the leadership level in that way, but I believe that every company should have a KPI or a metrics that is a customer lifetime value.
Mhm.
How and everybody should be connected to that. How
Right.
do we achieve that success? And that is everybody's responsibility.
I agree. Yeah.
And that is how I look at it. And you see more the established companies that are living for have success for 30 plus years. It's difficult to change the organization.
Mm.
But it is a mindset.
Yes.
Customer centricity is it's a key thing.
Yeah.
It's not about us. It's
Mm.
about the customer. They are paying our salaries. Let's be honest. And
Mhm.
there is no us without them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think the mindset have to change. You cannot live on success of the past. That time is done.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great point you made, Jim, where you mentioned that not having siloed KPIs, where I am a CS team, so I have separate KPIs, and I am the product team, so my KPIs are very different. Once the silos start forming in organization, we lose track of customers' business requirements. So that's a great point. That brings me to the next question. And you mentioned ICP, so I want to go back to it again in my next question, which is,
Yeah.
and we often encounter a situation where customer expectations are not aligned. It could be that it's not the ICP, or somehow we missed during the journey of the client. So, how should a team recognize and address this gap? And what strategies should be implemented to realign expectations without compromising on customer relationship? Is there a way to do it?
Well, you always need to review plans.
Mhm.
So if you feel there's something going on with the customer in a negative way, you have to sit down with them.
Yeah,
Just be bold and be honest and transparent.
right.
What is going on? Why is this not working? What are we not doing what you were expecting from us to do? And adjust the goals. Do
Right.
we need different resources with different competence? Is there a different timeline what we are not aware of? And
Mhm.
I think that is all homework before you onboard a customer.
Yeah.
So it is the asking the right open questions,
Mhm.
not just adding the logo to your organization and that's it, but you really need to understand why do you want to become a customer of us?
Mhm.
What makes us so special? Why are you not going to a competitor?
Mhm. Mhm.
And when you start to understand why they come to you, then that means you are something special for them.
Yeah.
And then you need to deliver on that. I do not believe in surprises
Mhm.
because if you do your homework well and you ask the right questions, you know exactly what they are after.
I agree. Like a lot of other episodes that I have had, all the leaders talk about doing your homework before entering that call, having that onboarding call.
Oh,
So
yes.
I think this has been consistent across so many episodes that we have had, that make sure there's a plan, make sure that you're prepared, and very, very few surprises. It should not be that everything looks fine, the health score looks green, but oh, and the customer is
Yeah.
not happy during
And,
the year.
and you know, Shivani, I like really to ask um, questions where I want to have an honest answer. So I
Mhm.
ask my customers, I say, okay, are in a partnership for a period of time. If you need to rate us between 0 and 10, what
Mm.
will be your rating? And then please explain your rating, what you
Yeah,
gave us.
yeah, yeah.
And just be quiet. You get so much information out of it. So much information. And the second very simple question is, would you like to be our reference? And when they start to take time to answer you, it
Mhm.
can have different reasons. It can be that you're not doing the job what they're expecting, or it
Mhm.
is something that they do not want to go out to the public market to say, I'm a customer of yours.
Right, right,
But
right.
you get so much information by asking open-ended, open questions, and
Mm.
you should do something about it. You need to listen, you need to take notes, and you need to follow up. And you need to prove them that you heard them, what they were sharing with you. And
Okay.
that will open the doors for more business.
Yeah, I think these two questions are bonus on today's episode.
Good.
Completely took me by surprise. Those whoever's listening, if they're a CSM or CSL, I'm hoping they're making the note of these two important questions. So, uh, yeah, do you have anything to add, or should we go to the next question?
Oh yeah, I think it is a very important thing. A lot of companies forget that it is not about us,
Mm.
not at all. It
Yeah.
is not about us. It's
Uh,
all about the customer,
Customer and their requirements.
and you need to listen to them,
Yeah.
and you need to be honest if they are the right one for you to work with. If not, then you can help them finding another partner for them, so that you do an offboarding. Because
Yeah.
the offboarding process is just as important as the onboarding process.
Yeah.
Do it in the correct way. because you keep the door open for later. They can come back to you, or they can advise other potential customers to come to you.
I agree. I agree. That's important as well. Yeah, because we're
Sure.
talking about failures.
Yeah.
So, Jim, very insightful details in all these answers that you give. The last question that I have is an advice because you're a senior and
Mm.
I'm still looking for more and more information as a CSM. So, reflecting on your career in customer success, what advice would you give to an aspiring CS leader, somebody like me, about embracing failure, learning from it, and ultimately leveraging it as a catalyst for growth?
You know, Shivani, I love the CS culture so much. We are all people.
Mhm.
We are all here to help each other.
Yeah.
And I'm in the business for a long time.
Mhm.
This is the culture what I really adore to work with. And that's what I'm going to do and keep doing. But to be successful in customer success is not only up to the customer success manager. It's
Mhm.
about the organization. Do they have the right customer-centric mindset?
Mhm.
Is there leadership alignment? It is everybody's responsibility to make the customer successful, top down.
Yeah.
So also the CEO or C-level need to know who our customers are.
Mhm.
Not
Mhm.
only looking at the numbers,
Yeah.
but do they know the customers? Do they know the pain points? Do they know the industry they're working with? Do they know the challenges? Do they know the goals, the objectives,
Mhm. Mhm.
where we are asked to help them as a partner?
Yeah.
So my advice is do your homework and find out what company I would like to work for. Do they
Mhm.
have the right leadership? Is the culture right? Um, you can check different websites to see where employees are rating their company, where they are working for. You need to feel right. You need to wake up before the alarm goes off because you want to do your work with pleasure. Huh? So, what I think is very important, and especially during the Corona time, I have used this time to educate myself as much as possible. And I did. I have read books what I never have read before. It was so much pleasure, no?
Good.
And doing education by success coaching and things like that. And by with all this experience, international experience, what I have for 30 plus years, it was just a blessing to absorb all this education.
Mhm.
And I love to share my education, my knowledge also, my experience. So I started last year to write content, customer success content on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And hopefully I help other customer success managers or leaders with that. And it is just a learning thing. And it is every single day we are learning, we are hearing stories from other people.
Mhm.
And that is just a pleasure of what I found in the customer success community.
Yeah.
So
Agree.
learn, feel, stand up, communicate, be authentic, be yourself at
Mhm.
all time. Be transparent, be honest.
Yes. I agree.
And
Those.
and and, the, and that is the joy what I feel in this community.
Yeah, it's a very tightly knit community. I've seen
Ah,
that.
yeah,
We support each other very well, very well.
absolutely.
Yes. So, Jim, that brings us to the end of today's conversation, but it was
Hmm.
an absolute delight to have you join us, and hopefully we can collaborate soon. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, I look forward to that, Shivani. I think it was really a pleasure to be here. And I hope my personal goal is to spread the word of customer success.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think also for companies, if they don't adopt a customer-centric organization,
Mm.
they have to ask themselves how long they still will be on the market.
Okay.
Of course, there will be a lot of other companies that are customer-centric, and we're living in a time of subscriptions.
Mhm, mhm.
So you can have a killer product, but if you don't have the right services, they just put the subscription elsewhere and you lose your customer.
Yeah.
So
No,
change,
change.
adopt the change and be customer centric and just have fun because when you help your customers achieving their goals, you achieve your goal.
Hi. That's a great saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice, nice closing.
It is. It is. Okay. Thanks a lot, Jim. See you again. Thank you.
And you, Sifani. Take care now.
Yeah.
Bye bye.